Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
Hello everyone, thank you for watching Welcome Keene. My name is Aggie Cersosimo. Thank you for watching us. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate everyone and each of you. Today we're going to talk about something that I am really passionate about. It's going to be art. Art as a way to connect, and also art as a way of seeing ourselves. Art is a way to express our inner world, our thoughts and beliefs, our feelings and emotions, our loves and frustrations. Through making art, we learn about ourselves. Art teaches us to communicate by providing another way of portraying feelings, ideas, and arguments to an audience besides words. It's also an amazing way to connect with people. That's why I invited a very talented and successful artist and jewelry designer, Larisa Volkavichyute, originally from Russia, who is a very successful and amazing artist from Southern Vermont, and she's been using her talent as a medium to connect with people. Larisa, thank you so much for coming to our studio. Thank you for accepting my invitation. How are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
How are you enjoying the weather today?
I do, it's great.
Yeah, cold and windy, right?
Yeah.
Larisa, I would like to start our conversation with asking you about your story. How did you end up in Brattleboro, Vermont, in United States?
Yeah, that's an interesting story. I came here in 2004 as a student for School of International Training, and while being a student, I met my husband, who is local to Brattleboro, and after that, we've traveled a lot alone. You know, we've been in different countries. We lived in Russia for a while, and about 9 years ago, when our first son was born, we came here for good.
I remember when I met you 9 years ago, you moved to Brattleboro, and just like me, you were an immigrant, and you had a really hard time finding friends and, you know, creating your own family because you moved from a different country. You start everything from the beginning. And I remember you starting doing some art, and like how passionate you were about it, like how creative you were about it. So I'm very excited to talk about it to you because it's an exciting thing, how you connected to people through art all the way along. So do you remember how you started your adventure with art? Like, can you pinpoint when you fell in love with it?
Oops, I apologize for that. That's unexpected. Yeah, I remember it very clearly. I was working for European Bank for Reconstruction and Development. It was a really great experience, but work in
that was in Russia?
That was in Russia, yeah. And work in the office was, you know, suggesting a lot of time, you know, in the office, like 9 to 5, and that was a very structured environment. And I wanted to have something outside of these daily routines. So for some reason, I chose jewelry, and I started to take silversmithing courses. And that was, I don't know, that was probably 20 years ago. And when I was making my new jewelry models out of silver, I realized that I have limitations. So I needed more like imagination, and I needed more of an artistic expression in creating my jewelry. And I thought, how do I develop that? Because I've never done art before. And I thought that I will take an art classes. And I found an artist whose style I really liked. And he happened to have like art classes in his studio on the weekends. And I joined that group, and I started to go to his art classes like every Saturday. It eventually turned into an adventure that lasted like every weekend for like about 6 years or so.
Wow.
But I really remember how starting to do art, starting to actually paint something. We started with a still life. It kind of captured my attention, and it became even more important than the jewelry, even though I started from that. So, and I think then I continued with both, and then somehow I started to want to combine both the art and the jewelry. And, you know, it just went that way. Yeah.
And you felt like you loved it, right?
I felt like I loved it. I felt like it's really important, like art is a way to tell stories, even if you paint a still life, you know, even if it's like, you know, a vase, flowers, and I don't know, a cup or a bottle or something like that. Even if you depict those particular objects, you can still tell your story. But then you can choose your objects, and then you can choose what you paint, and that would be a different story. And it's like, it is really an interesting way to observe the world around you and then put it out there. This is what I saw. This is how I see things. This is how I, you know, choose to represent those things. Or this happened by an accident and I liked it, you know. So, yeah.
So I'm going to ask you, what kind of art do you have in Russia, and do you get inspired by that?
So Russia tends to be, in general, be very conservative and classical in terms of like art education. And, you know, a good example would be the Orthodox icons. I think, you know, it's probably the most common, and Andrei Rublev is one of the well-known artists, like, or painters who did the icons. And then there are, you know, other classical artists like Vrubel or I don't know, Chagall, who became an immigrant, and when actually he probably might be Belarusian born. And there are actually a lot of immigrants from Russia or ex-Soviet republics or Eastern Europe who came to the West and became famous here.
So do you get inspired by icons? Do you use that pattern in your design, in your art?
I think unconsciously I use a lot of colors that I used on the icons. Actually, like maybe that painting right behind you. Which is obviously not an icon, but it's like, it's a lot of colors from
it's very beautiful. It's very bright, right? Very happy. Do you have any favorite American artists or any local artists that you get inspired by?
Oh, I have. I know a lot of local artists. I have a favorite local artist. That's Kay Curtis. Hi, Kay.
Is she from Brattleboro?
She's from Brattleboro. She is a leader of Harmony Collective Gallery that I'm also a part of. I think she's really talented and a great person. There is a great artist from Massachusetts. I think she's also teaching in one of the universities. Her name is Lynn Sisler. And
so what is your artistic style? What is your interest?
What is my interest?
What kind of style do you represent?
I don't think I represent a style. I think like the qualities of my art or the way I describe it would be something that is whimsical, kind of a little mysterious, that twists the reality a little bit to make it look more like a fairy tale. I think,
Can show like the picture of it. It's like,
yeah,
it's like what?
I think,
So beautiful. I love it.
thank you. I think
So what style that would be? Does it have any style, or is it
What
just that's
style
who you
would be?
are?
I think that's really folky. I think it's folky.
Uh-huh.
It's decorative. It's
pretty.
I don't know. Yeah, or like more like a fairy tale. It's like a mix of.
What is that? That's a church. That's a stone church.
That's a stone
That's
church,
a stone
yeah.
church. Is there any connection?
Yeah, there is a connection. My husband runs the stone church,
Right.
so
That's
that's the
very
connection.
beautiful.
Yeah, so I think I like, I get inspired with myths, archetypes, psychology, fairy tales, and all those things, they kind of get intertwined and, put out there.
Can you talk us through your creating process? How do you come up with idea for different pieces, and then what are the steps of putting them live?
Well, sometimes it's just I like the shape in the outside world. I like the colors combination. I notice something, and then it's interesting just, to put it together, and basically just out of my observation to turn it into something visible, like a drawing or a sketch. That's like an easier process. There is a second way where I have something important that I want to tell. Let's say I had a thought and I want to share this thought. Then I think of a story or what it thought look like. Well, this is actually could be a good example. Like this painting where the cat is holding the bird that she possibly killed.
Right.
That painting is called like Our Egos Make Us Bleed.
So what inspired you to paint this?
So
did you see something in the nature?
Yeah, that one was the second method there. I wanted to talk about the ego and how your ego make you sometimes leads you to wrong decisions or something, or and I thought what it would be like, how would I tell this story? And sometimes it's like a lot of stories, and I'm like, well, obviously that cat harmed the bird in a way. Cat caught it, and then it has complicated feelings about it. Whether she's happy about it, was it, So
you came up with this story.
I came up with the story.
So you have a story in your mind behind the painting.
Yeah, and then I draw a story. So it's almost like illustration, know, how it's like there is a story and then you illustrate that story. That's actually also one of the qualities or the styles where I mix like the painting and the illustration.
That's really cool. I love it.
Yeah.
What kind of medium do you use? What colors do you choose?
So my medium is soft pastels. That's my favorite and preferred mediums. And so soft pastels is basically like a chalk, and I love this method because if you use fixative or like sometimes even a hairspray, you can put layer after layer after layer, so that your painting gets to become like three-dimensional. You could see the previous layer that is coming through, and it gets more richness in that. And it's also a very forgiving method, because if you don't like something, you can always put the next layer on the top and no one would know what is underneath.
Everybody will think that's the way it's supposed to be, right?
Yes.
Can you please tell me what's the most unexpected outcome you've seen as a result of your work?
The most unexpected.
Like you plan to, I'm going to paint this today, and then you start painting or creating, and it's totally different thing. Did you experience anything like that?
Well, oftentimes the most unexpected thing becomes the thing to treasure. For example, like you use the fixative of a spray and you use too much of it, and then the pastel started to kind of bleed or go down, and then it's like, and then it starts to look beautiful, and then you're like, oh, I need to leave that part. I was not planning for it, but it looks good. So it's actually, you know, I value those moments because you're like, wow. It's like I haven't planned for that, but I like it. So it's important to keep it rather than cover it up.
Right, it's very creative that way, right?
Yeah,
And
it looks like it's not just your process, it's
Right.
like the way the painting kind of reflects to you.
Right.
Or sometimes you have a plan and you even have a sketch and you have references and you know what you're gonna paint, and you paint it and you don't like it. And it's like, well, I followed the plan, it should work, but it doesn't work. So then you start like solving that problem, and that becomes the unexpected thing because it's like I planned it all out, but I don't like the outcome. And then, you know, you add something, change something, and it's almost like a dialogue between you and the painting. And then something interesting comes up, which was not planned before. And that's,
Does being in a certain mood influence the way you create art? For example, if you're happy, like you create it faster, or the painting looks happier, or when you're sad or depressed, like is it slower, or I don't know what kind of you know, like, experiments you have, or but does it influence the creating of art?
I don't think so. I think it's important to it's not the mood. I think it's important to have your mind still, or like the emotional level still a little bit, to kind of get into the space of a concentration. So sometimes, like when I have kids and I take them to school and they don't want to go to school, and I'm like, Mom, you know, that's not the place to start the work. You actually need to reset and have it clear, like have no distractions. And as you start working, you know, the right mood comes in. But I guess you are asking about the emotions and how they influence the art.
That too, but I wanted to understand how it works when, you know, when you are not necessarily in a good mood. Like, do you want to paint? Are you motivated? Or do you want to be like, no, it's not my day today? But you said that the mood actually comes when you calm. Right?
Yes.
Like when you reset your mind, the perfect mood for creating art comes.
Yeah, I think of it more like of work. You know, sometimes you don't have the right mood, but you need to go to work. So as long as you have like your hours for painting
Right.
set up, so you just go into your studio, you know, reset yourself and work.
So you kind of need to get disconnected from the outside world and be in your mood of painting, of creating, right?
Yes, I think like it works differently at different times and different people, but I think what is important is because like painting is like what I want to say, how I want to say it. So it's really important to deliver that. So then you need to calm down, concentrate, and be like, here is what I'm gonna say. And you just do it from a different medium other than words. So when you focus on that, when there are distractions, it's like you kind of get off the track.
Right. That's fascinating. I love it. How about the jewelry? You make really cute jewelry. Like I have like really, I don't know if you can see, but I have like really cute jewelry. You have very cute jewelry, pins. How is your story with the jewelry? How did you start designing?
That's interesting. Actually, this particular method I learned from my friend in Russia, Lena. She was doing the laser cut jewelry. She was doing this UV printed jewelry.
Do you mind showing it to the camera, please?
Yeah, I have like, you know, like the earrings similar to the ones that Aggie is wearing.
Yeah.
Pins, they're all wooden and they are laser cut, and the, you know, the lines, the engraving lines, they're kind of, you know, do the line art, and some are printed. I'm not sure how visible is that.
Right, it's
And
very,
some,
very cute.
Some illustrations there, and there are like these hearts for Valentine's Day that just happened. So, so ever since I started the art, I was thinking, like, what is the way to connect color, to connect art, to connect illustration and jewelry making? And also I thought, when I was silversmithing, it was a method that is taking a lot of time, and I wanted a simpler method, a faster method, to be able to tell more stories, to be able to have more drawings and turn them into the jewelry. And that's how my friend helped me, and she taught me that method, and then I started to use it.
Could you please tell me, because I know that you struggled with the, being here as a new person in a different country, could you please tell me how art helped you connect with people? How it helped you cope with being an immigrant, dealing with, all those emotions and all that stuff?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think no one really talks about it because, people think that you just need to learn the language, you just need
go to work and you
get the job and you're all done.
Yes.
Well, I was successful, or I guess lucky in that sense. I already had the language, I already had the education when I came. I already had like the international experience of work. But when you come to a new country and start a life here, you kind of start from zero. You start from zero because you don't have connections, you don't have support system.
I feel like you have no identity.
And you have no identity. It looks like you're losing your identity.
Yes.
You had like, let's say, a status in your country, and then when you come, you kind of lose it all. So then you need to rebuild it all. And it's almost like, I don't know, it's almost like a whole like journey that you are going through, finding yourself again, reinstating yourself, and being confident about who you are. So in this sense, art helped me a lot, because through art, like through what I make, I can say, this is who I am.
Yes.
I am an artist. And there is a power in that. You have to say really loudly, I am an artist, and to present yourself, and this is my work. And then people resonate with that. People respond to that. They either like the way it looks, they either like the story it tells, and they share. They're like, oh, I know exactly how it feels. Oh, I know that place. Oh, I really like it. And then it helps to actually be seen in that way. It helps to feel connected.
Yes, and you also contribute to the community that way. Right?
And you also contribute.
Yeah,
it's like you are adding value to the society.
Exactly.
And I think that's exactly something that you probably, know, like how a lot of like immigrants who are coming, they need to assimilate, they need to learn, how this country operates, but they also have a lot to add to.
Yes.
So they are adding value to this society. And that becomes a really interesting way where you mix whatever you learned here with whatever you brought from your home country, and then you produce something, whether it's like, I don't know, food, whether it's like the education or teaching that you bring, or some art.
Yes, and it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. Could you please tell me quick, because we're running out of time, but could you please tell me quick, what are the accomplishments that you are the most proud of? Oh, because there are a lot.
I actually, I've created my own art gallery. It's called Leopard Frog Art Gallery, and it's also my own studio in Brattleboro. I have my art there and the art of other amazing artists. Come and check it out. It's in West Brattleboro. That's something that I'm really proud of. I need to look into my sheet, into my paper, otherwise I'll forget what to say. I know I've created the Stone Church craft market. which currently is on hold, but maybe I'll come back
I
to
remember
it.
the Christmas
Yeah, that was a Christmas
so
market.
awesome.
That's where I met all my artists that are part of my shop now. I started the wholesale journey with my shop, and actually one of the most amazing things that happened was like San Antonio Museum of Art gift shop purchased some of our products. So that's like really
awesome.
big achievement.
So proud of you.
Yeah, and I sell my artwork and my jewelry in a few shops in the
Yeah, and
area.
you have had a lot of exhibits, art exhibits, mostly in Brattleboro, right?
Currently I have like my art in the Harmony Collective in Brattleboro, and I have like my art represented in a few spots around the area, but it's not an exhibit, it's more like a shop spot.
A little shop.
Yeah.
Do you have any long-term plans for your art?
Yeah.
Dreams?
Yeah, I hope to be successful in my wholesale journey, like selling my jewelry to the other shops in the country, and I hope to continue making my art.
More art. Do you have any website or social media where we can follow you?
Yeah, my website is www.leopardfrog.shop.
That shop. Wonderful. Wonderful. Thank you so much. I really encourage everybody to go to the website. How about Facebook? Do you have any?
I have Instagram. My Facebook is not so active. It's also leopardfrog.shop.
Leopard Frog. I invite everybody, I encourage everybody to follow Larissa, to see her beautiful art. It's really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your story. It's really amazing how you connect to people through your art, and how beautiful your art is, and how much you contribute to the community, and how much value you add thanks to your art. I'm really, really happy to have you in our studio. Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting me.
Thank you. Larisa Volkavichyute. My name is Aggie Cersosimo, and see you in 2 weeks.